So we are live. It is Tuesday. That's the first thing I asked when just before I started this live stream. What day is it? Because with the coronavirus, it's hard to know. But I'm your host Rob, and I am joined this week not on my own. I'm not up by myself. I'm with Sean Taylor. Sean has come back. He's watched a few Marvel movies and he's ready to go. Sean, how are you?
I'm alright, man. So
Sweet.
yeah, been busy.
Yeah, very busy. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, the coronavirus is still around. It's still a thing. So that means that means that we don't really have that many fights to talk about because last week the fight card fell through. I done my last live stream the day before the fight card fell through, which was just unfortunate, you know. But that's what you can ask for when Tony and Habib are scheduled. But we're going to react to that, the fight card falling through, UFC 249 not happening, because I actually haven't really talked to you about this, Sean, and I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts, because I think you were kind of feeling the same as me. We were like, probably shouldn't be happening, but god damn it, I want to see some fights. I can't wait to see this card. So what was your reaction when this fight card fell out?
Not surprised, but like surprised that it took so long for it to be actually shut down. Like it should have. I think it should have been shut down a long time ago. It shouldn't really have been an option to run the card. I'm amazed they've got that far. I think I said this to you at the time. It was one of the things I did say. I think Disney and ESPN kind of just didn't think Dana would actually get it done. And they kind of just let him run with it. And then it looked like, oh shit, he actually has got it done. We better pull the plug on this, because it would have been a PR nightmare, I think, if that event goes ahead and you're pulling medical facilities away from stuff where it's from places where it's actually needed and things like that. So I'm not surprised, disappointed, because I want to watch some fights, but not disappointed that I think it should go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel very, very similar. Now, I seen that the governor of California essentially was the one to make the call to Disney, whoever, this Disney CEO or something, and say, here lads, let's get this pulled. So I wonder if Disney actually done it because they felt it was the wrong thing to do, like we kind of said, like maybe they just didn't think Dana could get this done, or they were just strong-armed by the government essentially.
It was going to be a sanctioned event as well, because that was a bit of talk as well. It's like, who's going to sanction it? The body of sanctioning committees came out and said that it would be sanctioned. I don't know by who, but it was going to be sanctioned, so that wasn't an issue either.
Yeah, which is weird, because I assume like it was going to be sanctioned, which means like records and stuff would have been updated, but the UFC were still going to regulate themselves on the night, I assume.
I think so.
So it's just a weird, like, it was basically the commission saying, you know, we're not going to involve ourselves in this, but you're too big, so, you know, you can still go do the event. That's essentially what was happening.
It took Disney to shut it down, realistically. Like, Disney, one of the biggest companies in the world.
The House of Mouse.
Because I'm not even sure ESPN particularly wanted to shut it down. I think they'd love to go ahead with it, to be fair. Because they need some ratings. I think most sports networks need some ratings, need some content that isn't just reruns of old stuff.
We'll get much more into that topic, because there's a lot to be said about it. And we have loads of questions as well, and the fun thing about these live chats is you can ask us questions live in the live chat on the channel there. And it's always more fun, so if you have any questions, throw them in there. If they're MMA related, brilliant. If they're not, we'll still jump into them if we're interested. And also give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go back to the original thread I put up the other day to get some questions. We're going to jump into them, and then we'll just, you know, reel on. We'll react to the fight card falling through and everything else that goes into that. So Stevie P asked, do you agree with the fight island? I personally think it's ridiculous and putting those that live on the island at risk if there are any people residing there, unless it's a deserted island. I was watching Luke Thomas's show with Brian Campbell, Morning Combat, and he was saying, did I lose you?
No, I can hear you.
No,
I'm still here.
Sorry, I thought I lost you. I was watching the show with the Morning Combat, and Luke Thomas was like, it'd be hilarious if it was just Hawaii. Like, you were saying, like, the secret island, and it was just Hawaii. Like, that'd be very funny. But do you agree with this fight island, Sean?
Put aside the whole coronavirus thing and stuff, and I think the idea of like a UFC owning, say, a fight island where they just go and put on these badass fights and stuff is really cool.
It is, yeah.
In the circumstances, no, I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I get the concept in that you could say quarantine. You could essentially quarantine the group
People
of
on the
people.
island.
Yeah, you could essentially quarantine the group of people needed to put on an event on the island, and so then they become the people just living together. So it's fine for them to be around each other. Like, I get the idea, but it doesn't work with fighters because people are fighting each other.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
It doesn't work.
the ultimate thing is they get into a cage together.
Yeah,
so
you can't have them living together. Essentially, I get the idea. I don't think it works. It's pretty. It's cool all the same.
It is cool. Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat basically.
But it kind of takes away, as in the UFC spent so long trying to get mainstream media approval, and then to go so out of the way to do something like this kind of takes away from that.
Yeah.
I think
I understand that. Yeah, like I think on one hand it's amazingly cool. Like, it's so cool. Like, it would be different, and I think that's one of the arguments that Luke Thomas made, was that he thinks that it'd be cool just to see something different, because if you go to Las Vegas, or you go to Ireland, or you go to, you know, somewhere anywhere else in Europe, anywhere, basically any arena, they all look the same when you're watching at home. Whereas if they do it on an island, assuming it's not just going to be in some makeshift arena that looks exactly like a UFC event, it will have like this unique look to it. It'd be kind of like a moment in time. Or a few moments in time, because it looks like Dana White wants to do multiple events, probably multiple events each day.
I think it will be something that they use in the future.
You think so?
After this, yeah, I think the idea has kind of caught a few people. And if you look at, you posted Boss Logic's poster on the page on Facebook, and it looked fucking sick as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah.
And I seen that, I tagged you in something on Darren Till's Instagram where he essentially posted it was like a mock-up festival lineup for Fight Island, which looked amazing as well. So stuff like that kind of, it's just new and different, and like a bit of just different to what we've seen over the last couple of years, and it kind of captured the imagination, I think, a little bit, just probably in the wrong circumstances.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm not against it. I think it really depends when it's going to happen, and hopefully this starts to die down a little bit, and they can do events behind closed doors, and they can make it as safe as possible. So I'm not against it in that way, and I don't think it'll do too much damage to the sport. I mean, it looks a bit like, to the mainstream, it probably looks a bit bush league, but like, MMA has always been that way. I don't think it's like, people already look at MMA, like, from the mainstream, people look at it as this weird, crazy sport on the fringes anyway. Yeah. So I don't think it'll do damage to it.
I think the issue with the mainstream media was how hell-bent the UFC were on putting on an event when it just clearly wasn't the right thing to do. I think that's what's going to do might do some damage, or just didn't look great.
I think what would have done a lot of damage is if they went ahead with it and then someone or multiple people got coronavirus. Yeah. I think if nobody got it and it went off without a hitch, maybe they would have been fine. But yeah, I think if someone got it, like, I seen like WWE, and this is a story I want to talk about as well, that Florida essentially said they're saying that sporting events or sporting organizations are essential businesses, which, like, okay. But it looks like WWE can go ahead. That means that the UFC could potentially go to Florida for their events. But I seen someone from WWE, a production guy, got coronavirus, I think, while working a show, or maybe it wasn't while working a show, but they're still going ahead. I'm not sure how that's going to affect them, but that's kind of crazy too.
Yeah, see, you would have to quarantine everyone you would have to isolate everyone for 2 weeks prior to the event to ensure that no one gets it.
Yeah.
So, like, the issue isn't just coming and testing everyone, because then you have to wait on test results. You should really be quarantining everyone for 2 weeks before even bringing them to the island.
That's kind of why I like when Dana said, we're going to get people, we're going to bring them to the island, they're going to train there, and then they're going to fight. Because if these guys are, maybe they're given a stipend or something, like some money, not just a purse, they're actually giving some money to come over and train and do it like that. Because that way, get them away from everybody else, let them train, prepare for the fight maybe 2-3 weeks ahead. You can test them all the way through. Yeah. And then you probably have a good idea then, you know, if they're there for 3 weeks, that, okay, these lads are fine. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. If it's like a thing where they ship them over the week before, that could be, you know, that could be really scary.
That's a disaster. That's an awfully big gamble to be taken, I think.
Yeah, I think it could be. A few questions and comments in the chat. I see Pompous Psycho is here looking for Sal Vistola. Sal hasn't come around just yet. It's Ned Barem. I always mess it up. I see Sal. Oh, is he there? Unbelievable. Says I look much healthier than last week. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me last week, but also gave myself a COVID haircut. and it doesn't look alright. It doesn't
He
look
looks
bad.
alright, man.
It looks, do you know what I mean? Like, that looks alright. Yeah, so I was in bits last week. Not physically, but you know, my appearance was in bits. Looked terrible.
How long had you gone without the haircut prior to that?
Like 3.5 weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
So that's long enough.
That's as long as you will ever leave it, really.
Oh yeah, big time.
That
yeah,
half week is longer than you'll ever leave it, knowing you.
Yeah, my hair grows out like this. That it's like poker straight. You know what I mean? So I can't leave it too long because it gets really bad.
Mine's 4 weeks now, and it's starting to annoy me. But it'll be another week before it really starts to annoy me. I'm not mad on shaving it, so I think I might see if I can grow a ponytail or something.
You should. That'd be great. Let us know in the comments what hairstyle Sean should go for over the COVID period. We have a question or a comment here. I think it's a question, so let's get into that. It's from Znebrem as well. And also, like the video, share it. Do you know what, Sean? I always forget to share this on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Have you shared it?
On my Facebook, yeah, I've shared it.
Okay. Do you have many friends?
Not really.
Okay. We'll share it on our Facebook page in a minute when Sean is talking. But again, as I said, Sneb. I've been watching old fights of Henan Barrow and he's putting me to sleep. Oh, yeah, he's putting me to sleep. What are your thoughts on his fight style and whether you guys are fans of his? I thought he meant he was putting people to sleep. I liked Henan Barrow back in the day. I thought he was a good fighter. Now, like if you look at his early fights, he was finishing guys, but then it kind of happens with champions when they become dominant, they start running into these decisions, and I'm not sure if it's a change in approach because they want to be less risk averse, or it's just that they're fighting consistently the best guys, so it's much tougher to beat those guys in a dynamic and finish them and stuff. But I was a Henan Barrow fan, but he's one of those guys who really fell from grace, like big time, like just like up, and then bam, gone, and he just didn't come back.
Just in the chat, was he was released just recently, wasn't he? I was thinking that as well.
Let me check that. I'm not actually sure about that. But I will have a look. He might have been. Wikipedia. We don't know if Wikipedia is. Yeah, he was. December 2019. He was. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, he was considered one of the GOATs, the greatest of all times, and he gets released by the UFC, and I don't even remember. Like, that's kind of tells you where he was, doesn't it? Anyways. Jan van der Bos, I understand and think it's better that UFC 249 didn't happen. Will it be Khabib versus Tony now, or still Gaethje versus Tony whenever the fight event is made? It's got to be Tony versus Khabib. They got to wait.
That's the one they'll book anyway, whether it happens or not.
Yeah. So. Do you see any scenario where that fight doesn't get booked? I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because, you know, we've been through this before, but that they don't actually go for that first?
Bar an injury, not really. Even injury, I think they might just hold off. But at the same time, do you really go again? What is it? Sixth time now?
Sixth time. Sixth time, yeah.
I can really see Dana just throwing his hat at it and saying, either that or he just bring them to Fight Island and he will literally bodyguard them for like a 12-week camp and say, no, we're fucking making a fight. He literally had guys watch them. So I don't know.
Like, it's gonna be disappointing if it does happen, though, isn't it? I'm sorry for saying that, but
it cannot.
I know it cannot live up to the hype because it just can't. But yeah, I think that when UFC 249 comes around or whatever the event is, I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I think they will try book Tony versus Khabib, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. I wouldn't put me money on it.
They'll have to have a standby as well, from the offset. Yeah.
Jan van der Bos, when do you guys see any big sport coming back? This was a discussion I've heard on a few podcasts as well. Do you think that MMA will be the first major sport to come back, just the way it works, and I guess how aggressive Dana White has been about it?
I don't think it should be one of the first sports to come back. I think we're more likely to see properly individual sports such as tennis, snooker or something like that come back, where you can literally just have two people and a referee. The issue with MMA, putting away Dana's bullishness to actually get an event on, is you have corners, referees, commissioners, judges. Like, you have an awful lot of people in there, even without fans. So I think that would be an issue behind closed doors. I don't see spectators being at events for a good few months anyway. Yeah,
I assume
if at all this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're really gonna postpone that.
It's hard
anyway.
to do it without a vaccine.
Yeah. I'm just sharing this on Facebook. That's why I'm looking down. I'm not ignoring you. But I tend to think that UFC or MMA as a sport will be one of the first to come back. But I agree. Like with snooker or tennis, like tennis, you have like a referee's miles away, right? He's in the stands, isn't he? You have the umpire thing.
He's above them, so the two tennis players.
The little guy there. So he's far away, like. Yeah. And then the two tennis players. So yeah, realistically, you could do tennis fairly handily.
MMA will be one of the first to come back because Dana is so bullish. As soon as they get a chance, like as soon as restrictions are relaxed in states, they'll be putting on events.
Yeah. Jan Vanderbos said WWE has taped a few events before. Yeah, that seems like they've done that, but it looks like they're actually coming back live though, aren't they? As far as I know.
One of the issues with taping events is you can't bet on taped events. So I'm not sure the UFC are going to do tape an event and then show it.
Do you think that they value betting too much?
I know they don't have betting deals in America, but I think it's too valuable. I think they have deals with sponsors outside of the US, so I don't see them doing that because I don't think there's much value in it for them.
Yeah,
wrestling's different. It's fake anyway, so
yeah.
I mean, the whole concept of this sport is based on its realness and its rawness. So
yeah, and the thing where I
wouldn't personally be a fan of watching a taped event.
Yeah, and the thing where
sorry for going across again.
Yeah, but the thing with wrestling is that you can kind of like it's choreographed, so you know where people are going to be at what time. And MMA is a bit more chaotic, and you can't really control things. If that makes sense. Yeah. Pompous Psycho said EPO Shaw ruined Barrow. Yeah, he did. He looked like a completely different guy after TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, fucking hell. I remember watching that fight. I actually had money on TJ Dillashaw on that fight, funny enough, and he was a huge underdog. I think he must have been like 7-1 or something. As an underdog, must have been. But yeah, that was fun. Mark O'Toole. Do McNuggets fight before the end of the year? McGregor, I assume.
Yeah, if there's cards happening, he'll fight before the end of the year. But I mean, with people like him, one of the issues with putting him on in a fight behind closed doors is his gate is so big, because ticket prices for a McGregor event are a lot more than ticket prices for even a John Jones event.
That's a very good point. So
you're putting away an awful big gate, or you're foregoing an awfully big gate if you put McGregor behind closed doors. But then maybe the pay-per-view buys are bigger because people want to watch him sports. So I don't know. It's checks and balances.
Yeah, I think he will fight. I think he was. He clearly wanted to fight. He wanted to have this season thing. Yeah. That it doesn't look like that's going to happen. At least it's not going to be 3 fights. Probably he might have one more. But I do think he will fight before the end of the year.
I agree.
Yeah. Tale of the tape. Habib says he'll return in September if the crisis clears by then. Will Tony be willing to wait that long before fighting again? Like, Tony's crazy, so you can't get into Tony's mind. But September isn't that long away. Like, I know it's a while away, and he has been in camp, so he's probably chomping at the bit. He probably wants to fight. Like, I mean, clearly he does, because he took the Gaethje fight, which is crazy. Like, not a lot of people would have taken that, and that's another thing, isn't it? Like, I know, like, the money, like all that kind of stuff, but you got to give Tony Ferguson some props for taking that fight, because that is a tough fight on short notice when you should be having the biggest fight of your career. But
gangster, big time.
Do you think he'll wait it out, Tony Ferguson, or will he look for another one?
He's probably going to have to get his hands on Khabib anyway. He's going to have to wait it out, because Ramadan is going to come up, and so that's going to stop Khabib from fighting. Yeah. He would fight in the meantime, whether he will or not, I don't know. But he certainly, I've no doubt that if he was offered a fight, I don't see why he wouldn't accept it. Yeah,
and plus they'll probably throw an interim title at him, and probably rightfully so at this point. See, we don't hate interim titles; we just hate when they're not used correctly. Just going through this live chat, because there's a lot of questions here. I'm going to fly back onto the one we asked in the community tab, so we can get to some of them, and then we'll get back to the live chat, because we're getting a few there. Which is always good. And like this video, share, subscribe.
Season Ebram says Sean should grow his hair into that Uriah Faber style mop where he can shake his head and it just flies about. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like that.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's sorry, Sean. Like, ever since I've known you, you've had the fairly, high and tight type job. So Is that the only? What kind of haircuts have you had over the years? Like, have you ventured into that?
No, pretty much that. I actually don't
Yeah.
know what my hair looks like after 6 weeks.
Ho ho ho! What are you at now? About 3?
4.
4. Jeez.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much either maybe the 13th of last month that I got my hair cut. No, sorry, it was the 12th. So just over 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, after 6 weeks, I don't know what it looks like. 6 weeks is the longest I've gone without a haircut.
Lads, we might know. We might be seeing it. We might be experiencing it with Sean. This is fun. John C. in the community tab asked, why does Dana think Fight Island is going to happen? If Disney and ESPN pulled the plug on Tachi Palace because it went against government regulation and undermined the quarantine, wouldn't they also say no to flying fighters internationally for that same reason? Yeah, like that's something that I thought about because it got cancelled and Dana White was like, yeah, the Fight Island is happening. And I immediately was like, oh, like how? Because, you know, will that not get pulled by ESPN because that's where the cards will air? My guess is that he spoke to ESPN and they're saying, you know, let's get this one out of the way. We'll probably look okay. You know, it's a good PR move to cancel this one. And then hopefully the cases will be maybe minimizing by the time we get to a month away, because he said it's going to take a month, and then it'll be okay to do it and we'll be able to have all the right protocol. That's my assumption, that he spoke to ESPN about this, because if he didn't, then he just said, we're still doing it, then, you know, he probably shouldn't be as confident as he is.
Yeah, I think he's saying that in the knowledge that he knows he can put an event on there, no issues. I think at the minute in America, they're just very, I don't even think they've reached their peak yet, of the curve.
No,
so
I don't think so.
It would be a PR nightmare, and probably, let's face it, pretty irresponsible to put an event on pre-peak, I think.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's saying that in the knowledge that he's been told once restrictions are laxed or have been relaxed. Sorry, I think they're okay putting on an event. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I assume as well. Jan van der Bos, Eddie Heard, I assume he means Eddie Hearn, sees boxing maybe coming back in Saudi Arabia around July. I don't think so.
I said that to you. I said the Saudis will just throw a load of money and put it on the back garden.
Yeah.
I said that to you ages ago.
I know. You did, yeah. We have, you know, record of that.
Yeah. So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Should it happen? No. Will it happen? Yeah, probably. I mean, if I was a Saudi prince and didn't really give a fuck about anything or human rights or anything, I'd probably just throw a load of money at it and say, yeah, fight me back garden there. I'll pay you a load of money.
Yeah.
I'm not a Saudi prince though, so, you know.
Are you not, Sean?
No.
Jesus.
No, I'm a Calvin prince.
Well, that clears up the next question. Yeah. More of a private question. Do you guys live close to one another? So we work together, so at times we live close when Sean is in Dublin, and then we live a little bit further away, but still not that far. What's the drive from Dublin to Cavan? It's not that far.
Yeah, on American terms, we live, like, if you're to America, we live really close. We live
really
an hour
close.
and a half away from each other. So we're both at home, like in our hometowns. We're about an hour and a half away from each other.
Yeah, so, pretty much, which is nothing.
Yeah,
if you live in America. But I think Jan van der Bos is somewhere in Europe. I think he might be. Tell me where you are. Dutch. I'd say Dutch.
I would have a guess that.
Yeah. Pompous
Someone's
Psycho.
at my door in case you heard the doorbell there.
It's all good. It's all good. Do you need to answer it?
No.
Pompous Psycho. We still have live MMA fights here in the streets of this Detroit.
Kebab shops.
Yeah. So it was Nebrem. Big news in the US. The Michael Jordan documentary is coming out on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
It would be hilarious if you guys watched it and gave your opinion. I don't know much about Michael Jordan. I've watched Space Jam. that's no. I know a little bit about Michael Jordan, but yeah, is that on Netflix? Let us know.
Yeah,
you'll be very interested in that, right, Sean?
Yeah, if someone in the chat could let us know if that's on Netflix, or at least so I can VPN it to get it on the US Netflix. I watch. I've read actually some of the US guys in the chat will know him. Phil Jackson. He was the coach of the Chicago Bulls team that won a load of rings in the 90s. That 96 Bulls team that went some mad amount of games that they won. And then he was also Kobe Bryant's coach and Shaquille O'Neal's coach at the LA Lakers. A couple of years they won some rings there. His book 11 Rings is really good read from a coach. So I'd recommend that one. Really good read.
Yeah, you're a big sports documentary guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just a big sports guy in general. Like you'll watch anything.
I'll give another book recommendation as well, and I actually think it's really applicable to anyone into MMA because I think the mindsets are really similar. People probably won't know him. So AP McCoy, he was a jockey, probably the greatest ever jumps jockey. But those jockeys are absolutely insane as well. So the mindset is pretty similar to that of a MMA fighter. His book Winner is a fucking phenomenal read. I just finished it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will potentially check that out. Max B, go back to the community tab and then we'll go back to the live chat. Prime GSP versus Prime Anderson at 170. Ooh.
Prime GSP versus Prime Anderson at 170.
Yeah. Oh man.
Can Anderson make 170 at Prime?
Probably not. Actually, he might be able to.
He
at
was
170.
quite a lean dude at 185. Like.
Yeah, he was. It would have been at 185. At 170, I'd take GSP because Anderson might kill himself getting down in weight. At 185, I give GSP a decent shot. I always did. Like, if you look at the strength of schedule that GSP had over his career, it's unbelievable. Like, it's better than Anderson's. Like, Anderson's wins were probably more impressive, or certainly more impressive. But the guys who GSP beat, oh my lord.
Yeah, his body list is a second to none, really.
Yeah, 100%. But I'll go with GSP at 170 because, good point, Sean. I just assumed that was 185. I read it out and I still assumed it was 185. But yeah, GSP or Prime Habib versus Prime GSP at 155.
Yeah, there is a fight.
Whew. Again, I'll take the guy who's I'll take Habib at 155. I think GSP, like, he's a big guy. I think he could have made 155 okay, but it's not going to be easy. I'll take Habib.
At 155? At
155, yeah.
I give Khabib a very live chance even at 170.
Yeah. But the crazy thing about GSP is, and I know he beat Michael Bisping, but like, he proved that he can still compete in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not completely shot. So I wonder, he's not like the guy who, like, his skills are completely in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think. But that was a good question. Aiden Mack, did you hear about your work colleague who went deep in the Irish Poker Open, moved from City West to online?
I heard about that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do we know Aiden Mack, our work colleague?
I don't know. I think we mentioned we worked in... Oh, I mentioned I worked.
Yeah, I heard about this. Won a nice large chunk of money playing poker. So, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Very large chunk of money.
Do I know this person?
A chunk of money. I don't know him. I just heard about it.
Okay.
I don't know who it was. But it was a chunk of money the size of which, if I won it, you would probably never see me again.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was
Holy
a
shit.
big sum of money. You would hear of what I've been up to, but you wouldn't see me.
So I assume he does not work with us anymore.
I hope not. I'd be disappointed if he came into work the next day. Like, insanely disappointed.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Sorry.
So I see Jan Vendenbos says I need betting as well. Sean needs betting.
Yeah.
I actually don't miss it that much. It's been pretty easy. Yeah.
You've just been doing the slots, have you?
No. Been playing a bit.
It's pretty easy as I mill money into slots.
No, I've been playing a bit of poker online. I have a home game set up and stuff, so I've been playing a bit of poker with my friends and stuff. But that's about it.
How have you been doing in that poker?
I like poker, yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone has a home
performance wise though,
I've won a couple.
Have you? All right.
Are
you this guy from City West there that won all this money?
You think I'd be doing this live chat with that
guy? Yeah.
I'd be on my own little island with that amount of money.
Yeah.
If anyone has a home game set up from Poker Stars or something, let me know.
Sweet. Let them know. Insider Journal. Thoughts on new Florida order potentially opening the door for future UFC events. Will ESPN Disney allow this to go ahead? Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, the Florida governor, who has been pretty lax about his approach, or in his approach to COVID-19, and he's been criticised over it, has said that sport is an essential job. So sports people are in an essential line of work, which I don't get, but you know, off licenses in Ireland right now are deemed essential, which is insane. I know some people would be like, but you need some drink. Yeah, but also Super Value and Tesco are open. They still drink, so whatever. But yeah, it looks like they're open and the UFC could possibly do a couple of shows there. I think I don't know, it's a weird one, because my whole thing was, if they were going to do events, it would be good if they could do it in the Apex or something where they'd have a lot of control, or even the island, and they can have a lot of control over it. But if they can get a hand with the whole medical side of it, and it's not too under under the radar. I don't know. It's a weird one, but will Disney and ESPN allow it? I think they're all for it. I don't think they were against the other event going ahead. I think it was just the pressure from outside people. So if nobody else is pressuring, I think they'll allow it, to be honest.
I think this is exactly what ESPN, Disney and the UFC have been waiting for. Just to, like, if this Florida order opens the door for events, and say there's a bit of public pressure to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing it, just say, well, the commission are letting us, and the Florida state have said it's okay for us. Like, they literally have the easiest comeback. So
yeah, exactly.
I think it opens the door perfectly for events to be done, and what they will say is a safe and responsible way, whether it is or not. The state have said it is. So
what would you rather, a normal event under normal conditions in Florida or Fight Island?
Oh, Fight Island. Obviously. Fight Island's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it is cool.
That Boss Logic poster is fucking sick as well. I'm actually thinking of buying it when he puts it up for sale.
Yeah. Does he sell his stuff, yeah?
I think he does sometimes. I was actually looking on his website and there was nothing for sale at the minute. So I'm going to have a look though when he does.
Yeah. Pompous Psycho. Get young Sean on Fight Island at all costs. Let's start a GoFundMe for Sean's travel expenses. Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Sean the Roman reporter for the MMA movement. Let's do it. It's just Sean there with a fucking cocktail, half pissed, sitting on the
like David Attenborough on Fight Island. Here we have Francis Ngannou. Hopefully he doesn't see me because he will fuck me up.
Oh God, I'd love to see that. Absolutely. Who else is in for this? Let's get this going. Marco Toole. Can the UFC survive a depression-like economic crash in the US, especially with Endeavour having issues at the moment? I saw an article today about Endeavour's, I think it's their credit rating was reduced as well.
Not good. Well, it's still not bad, but it's not good that it's been reduced.
Yeah. And apparently they are in some serious, in a bad way, pretty much.
I think this is why the UFC are so keen to push on events, is because the UFC is potentially one of Endeavour's companies that can actually put events on and can actually generate some cash for them at the minute. Because we talked about this the last time I was on, and a lot of their stuff is actually in shutdown and can't be done because it's all festivals and stuff like that, and concerts that cannot be done behind closed doors. So I think this is something that can actually generate some cash for them at the minute, and I think there's probably a bit of pressure on Dana from above to actually get an event on.
I'd say there's a hell of a lot of pressure on Dana White. And you can kind of see it. Like, I think Dana White would have this approach anyway, regardless. Hopefully we didn't lose Shawnee froze there, but we'll try to get him back. Hopefully we can get him back. We'll go full screen on me until we do. So yeah, I think there was a lot of pressure on Dana White regardless of the whole Endeavour thing, but I do think that was completely amplified by essentially the reports that we're seeing. And they had that failed IPO a couple of months back as well, so they tried to go public, and there just wasn't the desire from investors that they hoped there would be. So yeah, just give me 2 seconds and I will try get Sean back. The joys of live. He'll join back in. Let me see. But yeah, do we think they can survive a depression-like economic crash? Like, I mean, you'd have to assume they would, just from the position that they're in. But it seems like their parent company isn't in a good position. It seems like Dana White at least has said that they're not going to lay off anybody, which is excellent. That's great. But there's probably pressure from Endeavour to maybe look at some cuts as well. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But yeah, I think they can survive it, but it depends on how long it goes on for. But I'd be surprised if like anything detrimental happened. JLo Street, do you think the UFC will resume fights in Florida in maybe 2 weeks? 2 weeks, probably not. I think maybe close to a month, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, potentially. Maybe not Florida. Maybe they'll wait for the island to happen. But yeah, when is the fight? We don't know. Jan van der Bos, it's far from me, Netherlands. Okay, Sean is the host now. He's back.
Hello, Rob.
Yes, he's back. Let's.
I was afraid that might happen. That was happening to me last night. But
was it?
Yeah, a little bit. The internet's been okay up to that.
Yeah, I think you're back now.
Apologies about that.
Yeah, you're back. Let me see. Let me check the stream there. Oh. We're going a double Rob now. Look at this. We have double Rob on the shrimp. Okay, I think we're alright.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? We need to pin Sean Taylor. There we go. Sorry, lads.
Sorry about that.
That's all blame, Sean.
Blame me.
Did you answer that question, Sean? Can the UFC survive a depression, an economic depression?
I think I was in the middle of it. But yeah, I think the UFC are under pressure from above with Endeavour to put on an event, because I think the UFC is probably one of Endeavour's few businesses that can actually generate some cash at the minute.
Yeah.
So can this? I think the UFC could survive. I think Endeavour might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
And if Endeavour are in trouble, then the UFC are in trouble. So I don't know. I'd be interested to hear someone like John Nash's take on this, because I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It all depends on how long this all goes on for.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I am interested to see what happens. Hopefully it's all okay, because I don't want to see anything bad happen, but who knows, depending on how long this goes on for.
Yeah. Tail of the tape. If the fights were allowed to happen, do you all think the pay-per-view would have done well, considering how many people are out of work at the moment? This is one of the things we were talking about, Sean. What do you think?
It's an interesting one, because the immediate thought at the top of your head would be people have nothing else to watch, so they're going to all jump on the pay-per-view. But then you do have to realise that, I mean, we've seen the numbers in America for people applying for that social welfare payment.
Yeah.
Insane numbers. So, I don't know. I think, I've said this, I think the UFC could do a lot worse than make Fight Pass free for everyone for a couple of months, get some publicity. I mean, if you whack a good card on free-to-air ESPN, I think you'll do big numbers on it. I think you get some good publicity. It gets some good eyes on the sport. I think that seems a pretty simple move to me. I think they would 100% stick it at the normal price point. I'm not sure how well it does.
Yeah. I don't think it does hugely well. Like, I think if Habib was still there, it might have done, fairly good numbers, but I'm not sure that it would have done that well in the current climate. I think a lot of people have a lot more things to be worrying about than buying fights, especially for, what is it, $70 or something like that. I think we might have lost Sean again. Unreal. Let me try get him back while I go to this one. But yeah, I don't think it would have done that well. Sean will pop back when he can, when he fixes his Cavan internet. And yeah, next question. Alex Pierce, do you think the UFC are hoping Jorge beats Usman so they can make the McGregor fight eventually with him? Yeah, look, I don't think the UFC necessarily roots for anybody. I can see Sean's back there. How's your internet there?
It's okay at the minute, I think.
Yeah. We'll get Sean back on screen. I don't know if people can hear you. I think they can. And again, double Rob, and we'll pin Sean to that.
What were you saying? You were saying about?
So, yeah, that's done. So next one was: do you think that the UFC would hope that Jorge beats Usman so they can make the McGregor fight? And I think the UFC don't necessarily root, in the traditional sense, but in the back of their minds, they got to be looking at McGregor versus Masvidal and saying, man, that is a big one. Yeah. Like, they're not going to do Usman versus McGregor. That's just never going to happen. So yeah, I think in the back of their mind, yeah, they probably would love to see that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they root specifically for any fighters really, but they will know the numbers that every fight generates, so they would have options that they would rather and stuff. So
yeah. Jan van der Bos, when did you guys start checking in MMA? I guess checking out MMA. Sean, you're a bit more recent than me, so I'll try to recall.
I'm trying to think of years here. 2013 maybe, 2014. Okay,
I know exactly when I started watching because I remember the first fight I saw. And let me try to get the fight. So it was Evan Tanner, and he fought. Let me just try to find the fight.
What card was it?
Huh? That's what I'm gonna try to find the card.
Was it a pay-per-view?
It was on Bravo back in the day. So do you remember Bravo?
Yeah.
So Bravo used to show all the UFC fights on, like, I think it was a few weeks delay or something like that. It could have been even a couple of months delay. But the fight I saw was, there we go. Wow, a long time. So it was Evan Tanner versus Tito Ortiz at UFC 30, I believe, 2001. That's when I remember first seeing MMA. I remember really start watching MMA probably just before Tough 1 is when I start like following it properly. Then of course like watched Tough 1, so that would have been around 2005 or so. But yeah, I vividly remember my first UFC fight, because I was like, what the hell is this? Because I liked wrestling. I was like, is this wrestling? And then no, it wasn't. It was this crazy sport.
Yeah.
David G, how about Yoel Romero versus GSP at 185? Holy Jesus. GSP is probably the greatest ever, but that is a terrifying prospect. Because like GSP didn't necessarily look great at 185. You know, he got colitis, so that's not good. And he had to retire eventually. But
I think he carefully picked who he fought at 185.
Yeah,
I don't think he wants any of that Yoel Romero smoke.
Yeah. I'm not saying he can't beat him though, because he's a better striker. He's definitely not a better wrestler traditionally anyway. But yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he's dodging Yoel, but if you're picking and choosing who you fight at 185, you're not going to pick Yoel Romero off the bat anytime soon. So.
Yeah, like I mean, when he was coming back, there was talk of him fighting Tyron Woodley. There was talk of him fighting for the middleweight title. He eventually fought for the middleweight title. I think it was more scheduling than anything, but I think he saw Bisping sitting there and he was like, "Ooh, that's a nice fight."
Yeah, I think he saw Bisping as someone, you know, if that's a guy I can beat and it's going to add to my legacy, and it's
why is everybody saying Conor versus Gaethje? Let's see the fucking Diaz trilogy already.
Let's see both of them fights.
I'd love to see the Diaz trilogy personally as well, to be honest. You know, I wish that was his return fight.
Would you rather see the Diaz trilogy ahead of the Gaethje fight?
Yeah.
Fair. I'm not sure I would.
No.
We spoke about this before. I think the trilogy makes total sense, especially at 155. I think it's just very similar to the second fight, which was a hell of a fight.
Oh yeah, I agree. But the thing is, it was a hell of a fight and it was close. And if Nate can make a few adjustments, who knows what could happen.
I'd rather see the Gaethje fight first, personally.
Yeah, fair enough. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out, especially with those likes, because it'll tell YouTube to recommend this to people. And if you're on Twitter, we just posted up a few minutes ago, a bit late, but you can retweet it, because that'd be sweet. Next question, who do we have here? Pompous Psycho, does Stipe give Cormier the rematch? Would rather see Stipe versus Ngannou too. In a way, I think Stipe versus Ngannou is probably a more interesting fight, but I think Daniel Cormier does deserve that rematch. I think Stipe will give it to him, but he's going to wait until he's perfectly healthy to come back.
Yeah, I think Stipe is kind of just playing the same game that DC did with the original rematch. As in, DC kind of held off giving it to him a little bit, didn't he? And kind of paused. Yeah, I think Stipe is kind of playing the game because he's clearly not 100% at the minute. I think we'll see the trilogy,
Yeah. Thanks for the likes. That was we got like a couple of likes after saying that, so absolute legends in this chat, and some very good questions as well, so keep throwing them in. We'll probably go for another, I don't know, how long do you have, Sean?
I'm at nothing, man.
Half an hour maybe.
My
Probably about half an hour.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, so
we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about your progress. Any Marvel Cinematic Universe questions for Sean? No spoilers. Up until what movie?
I'll tell you what I watched.
Thor Dark World.
Give me a second. I have the picture on my phone.
Okay.
So I've watched Captain America, the first one, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 1, 2, Thor, skipped Hulk because it wasn't on Disney Plus, Avengers, Iron Man 3, and then I'm up at Thor the Dark World. So that's.
Have you watched that?
Thor Dark World. Yeah, I watched it last night.
Cool. Cool. Any queries to Sean about that? Get them in, because I have plenty of questions. JLo Street. Do TJ Dillashaw become champion again? I love that phrasing. No. Jeez, man. I don't think so. No. Ooh. I don't think so either. I think there's a lot of guys at bantamweight. A lot of guys.
There's too much going on right now for him to.
Yeah, he's still an excellent fighter though.
And he's a hell of a fighter. I think there's just too much going on at bantam. I think he has too much to do to actually get a title shot next.
Yeah. Did you see this though? Right. I read something. Didn't read the article. Just saying the title of the article, But did I see that TJ Dillashaw said that he has been told that he's going to get a title fight on his return? Did you read that?
I thought I read something similar about Dominic Cruz as well.
Well, Dominic Cruz apparently was offered, or I think he still has that fight maybe. I'm not sure where that is, but Dominic Cruz was offered to fight because to Cejudo fight because Jose Aldo's out.
Yeah, look, it sounds like something TJ would say. So.
Yeah. He's sorry about the EPO, but he's not really because he had to make weight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught.
Yeah. Jan van der Bos. Will Paulie versus Conor ever happen? Or Mayweather versus Conor 2? Let's hope not, by the way. I think Mayweather versus Conor 2 is more likely than Paulie versus Conor, I think. Unless Conor...
I'd agree.
Yeah, unless Conor loses a shit ton of fights and he just needs a fight, like just, you know, if something bad happens. But I think that Paulie-Conor fight, it's got to be gone now, isn't it? Like, there's nobody talking about that.
We'll see the sparring footage at some point. That'll get released.
Yeah. Was it a knockdown, Sean?
That's a good question, Rob. Not one for me to answer. Like sparring footage is spurious at best because certain angles can make stuff look better. It's doctored, and I mean you're only posting like a 5-second clip of a 12-round spar or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it a knockdown? Was it a push?
Who knows? Where are we gone? I think I might have skipped a couple. Oh, there we go. Harry Lewis, any thoughts on Dan Hardy possibly fighting Cowboy Cerrone or Anthony Pettis? He mentioned he wanted one more fight before returning back to his analyst job, so doesn't want to contend or a surge in talent. I think that's smart by Dan Hardy. Like, if I had my way, I'd say, Dan, you're doing a phenomenal job behind the desk. Do that. Yeah. But man, Dan Hardy, if he wants to fight, go fight. I was always a big Dan Hardy fan. I thought he was an excellent fighter. For the skills that he had, he was excellent. And if he wants to come back, someone like that, a Cowboy Cerrone, perfect. I like it.
I think Cowboy or even Pettis I think both those matchups are the type of matchups that make perfect sense for him to come back to.
Yeah. So, he's smart because he's been doing the analyst stuff for a long time as well, so he knows the crack. Do you know what I mean? He knows he's not.
Listen to this sort of stuff he says. So.
Yeah, exactly. He knows he's not going back and fighting some fucking young up and comer. Yeah. Jan van der Bos, would you want a UFC Bellator event in Ireland right now? No, we wouldn't be able to go anyway.
I would, but even if I was allowed to go, if tomorrow, this is what I've said to a couple of people, if tomorrow the government came out and said everything's back to normal, as you will. You'd be petrified to go outside.
Yeah, I'd still be staying in for a while.
You'd be petrified to go outside. So no.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. Jan van der Bos again. Fight Island could be in Europe for the international fighters. I don't know what that says. I don't know what that is. It said that they had contact with them for the UFC. Belling? I'm not sure. That could be like a different language or something. But yeah, they did say though the Fight Island thing was for fighters who couldn't easily get into the States, right? For international fighters. So it must be, it can't really be a United States Ireland. So it's got to be somewhere Europe. Or maybe it could be. I don't know how that works. But
just some like tax dodging territory like the Cayman Islands or something.
Yeah.
Someone with no visa control or something like. You can just get Darren Till into handy.
Yeah. What was that island that Tom Hanks was on in Castaway? Go there. Why not?
I haven't seen that movie.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, God damn it, Sean. Sneb Rem, rank your excitement level on a Nate and Nick Diaz documentary. Yeah. Give it to me. 10. I'd love to see it. Proper in-depth one though, you know? Yeah. Follow them around, like...
Surely they've had guys following them around though for at least different parts of their career.
Yeah. I'm sure there has.
A lot of the top guys now have photographers and videographers with them now. So
yeah.
You'd like to think so. I hope so. Because that'd be sick.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the community tab here because I did ask for some questions. And we got some. So, Max B, how much do you want to see DC versus Stipe 3?
I'm all for that fight. This was one of my favourite fights of last year for a lot of reasons other than the fight. But the fight was really good because DC was winning the fight. He was 3 rounds up and then just got knocked out in the 4th. So yeah, I'm really excited for that fight. I think the first fight was the finish was not inconclusive, but it was controversial with the eye pokes and stuff. I think the second fight was dead interesting because DC was 3 rounds up, then got knocked out. So I think the third fight has a lot of storyline behind that, and for me, a lot of interest anyway.
Yeah, I'm very much interested in it. And plus, I just think DC deserves it, especially on his final fight, most likely. Did you see this about DC saying that he wouldn't mind being the UFC president? Did you see that?
Yeah, I love DC, man, and I don't know why he was ever hated, but he's very company man now, isn't he? He sometimes says some stuff that I'm like, oh, DC, come on, you're better than that.
A little bit.
Quit towing the company line so much.
A little bit.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think he'd fit in well in that job role, though?
Yeah, I think he probably would.
Smash it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, can we talk? I tagged you in this. I sent it to you the other day. Brendan Schaub. The thing he said. Did you see it? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
What a fucking moron. Fact.
He's an
good man. Schaub.
He is an idiot. Yeah,
he's actually a moron.
Yeah, and he said it with such confidence as well. Like speaking about statistics, and he said it with such confidence.
Yeah. Oh, what did he say? 17% of people get. He had this
I don't know.
stat that was just bullshit about people getting run over on the roads. Like that is so false. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a moron. An absolute moron, and he's that dumb idiot like who just says stuff really confidently, and people are like, "Oh yeah, same."
Yeah.
Idiot.
No, that page that I think put that up, Borishina Depot. I think that's who put it up. They're phenomenal. They just put up videos of people just saying stupid things and stuff. But like 75% of it is Brendan Schaub. No joke.
He says so much dumb shit that you're like, I love. He says this stuff so confidently, and then he does himself no favors because he's like, I can't remember exact details, but he's saying it so confidently. And
yeah,
like, this is clearly wrong. You're making shit up.
He said it on Joe Rogan's podcast as well, and Joe was kind of like, Joe didn't really say much. He was just like, oh, whatever. I don't think he wanted to call his mate out, but you could clearly see Joe saying, Brendan, shut up, you're making a show of yourself.
Yeah. Shut up, you tick.
Yeah, shut up, you tick. Pompous Psycho, LOL, whoa, why does Sean, or young Sean, have a black heart? Ooh, black heart behind you, Sean.
I know, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Sean. Do you know what? I actually used to like him. Yeah. And then I realised that he started talking a lot of shit. He's another good guy to blow smoke up his guest's ass as well. Especially, I don't think he knows like half as much as he lets on about boxing. He has this hit. Is it with HBO? He has a YouTube boxing special.
Yeah.
He doesn't follow boxing.
No.
He follows the big fights. Yeah, I don't like him. I think he's not very good at his job.
I think he's not very good. There you go. Hello, babies. Killian McDonough in the chat. Sean does not like Brendan Schaub. Yeah, that's what we found out today. Jan Vanderbos. Does Cruz get Cejudo instead of Aldo? Both seem crazy. Give Sterling or Jan a chance. Yeah, I agree. I think there's ready-made contenders there who are clearly first in line. I don't think Dominic Cruz is even ranked, but he does have the prestige behind him. He's been out for a long time. I understand why the UFC done it, especially because they're looking for some money fights as well. So I get it. I don't agree with it. What's worse, Aldo or Cruz? What's a worse actually?
Aldo.
Probably Aldo, yeah, because he lost very, very recently.
Cruz has pedigree at 35. I think that's far easier to make sense of than Aldo.
Yeah, that's actually a no-brainer. I don't know why you even have to think of that.
And sorry, with regards to Peter Yan or Aljamain Sterling, I think they'd have been silly. I don't blame, so not silly even, but I wouldn't blame them at all for not taking a short notice title fight like that at 35. They are going to get their chance at some point, so I don't blame them for wanting to get a full camp behind them.
Yeah, neither do I. Salva Stoli, you need to show Justin Gaethje some respect. Wait, young Sean just did. When Justin Gaethje fights, no stinking judge is required. Yeah.
This is true, but we need commissioners, so they're still an issue.
Yeah. I'm going to jump back into this community tab. Jonathan Curry, who leaves some comments on a lot of our videos when we used to do the podcast. And the podcast will be back. We just think that it's better to do these live chats instead of the podcast structure from when we're at home, but it will be back once we're back up and running.
There's not much content to actually go with a podcast structure as well.
Exactly. It's better chatting away with the lads here. But Jonathan Curry said, what's up, guys? He's recently accepted and found out that he's going to grad school in Limerick for 2 years. Essentially, he said, be great to catch up and have a drink. If you're around Dublin, fucking right.
Yeah,
let's go for a drink.
Hit us up.
Yeah. But he has a question. His question is, do you think the UFC would explore 5 fight cards scattered at days during the week and then keep big 12 fight pay-per-views once a month, but have smaller cards in between. Helps recover lost events as well as can be run with smaller promotions going forward. I guess if they're going to do this island thing, they could do something like that. They just, bring a load of fighters over, make sure it's all kind of above board. But I think like that would be good, kind of now, like, or maybe in a month, where they could just do loads of fight cards, like little fight cards during the week. It kind of be different, especially if it's in somewhere unique like that. But if they done that like for too long, like that went on for months, and there was like fight cards, like a fight card every other day, that would wear thin on me very quickly.
I said this to you. Dana said every fighter who's scheduled to fight. Oh no, he said the UFC will still promote 42 cards, or whatever amount of cards they were scheduled to promote this year. He said they will still go ahead. Like, he is in absolutely no position to guarantee that, the way that the things are at the minute. But I think if you have, when things get back to relative normality, I think you could easily bash out 3-4 cards a week with smaller cards with less fights on the card, just to get content out there. I think you could easily do that. I'd be a big fan of that. Yeah,
same, for a short period of time. Yeah, I'd be all for it.
Pay-per-views are going to be one hell of a hard sell, though.
Yeah, man.
Like, if you have people subscribing to ESPN Plus and then having to pay a pay-per-view, that's a hell of a hard sell.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they could do worse things than maybe up the ESPN subscription price, make by even a tenner a month, up at a tenner a month, and then make your pay-per-views part of the subscription like the Zone do. And I think that'd be some good stuff for them to do.
I wonder if they would explore that at this point, looking to do something like that.
Yeah, I think
packing in the pay-per-views where possible and trying to run more shows just on a subscription plan.
I think pay-per-views are a hell of a hard sell now. It won't after this.
Yeah, I agree. Nick0424, general question: should champions work on clearing out a division convincingly, fight the top 5 at every turn, or should fighters fight for the number 1 contender spot and the champ fights them? So should the champions work on clearing out a division convincingly, fight the top 5 at every turn, or should fighters fight for the number 1 contender spot and the champ fights them?
I don't think there's a definitive answer to that question. I think it depends on the division. As in, we've seen kind of John Jones clear out 180 or 205, at the minute, just because it's kind of a thin division, and there's never really been there hasn't been a clear number 1 contender for a while now.
Yeah.
Whereas lightweight, it would be very hard for Khabib to clear out lightweight.
Yeah.
He has fought everyone who's been put in front of him. And he has been scheduled to fight the number 1 contender, who's Tony Ferguson at the minute. So it depends on the divisions, I think, and
like Amanda Nunes, she could clear out 145, in like 2 days.
Just vacate it.
Yeah, pretty much. Is she even in that division? It's fucking stupid.
It's on the it's on the website, but it's on the website so they can promote it. Her as being a 2-belt champion.
Yeah, I know. It's silly, isn't it? Absolutely silly. Questions. There's loads of stuff here.
Is there anything in there about Jordan's documentary? I'm interested in that. If someone could let me know how I can watch that in Europe, please.
Yeah, someone let us know. Someone might have said it here, but the chats are flying in. It's Nebrem. Is Brendan Schaub the next UFC president? Sean?
Probably. He talks as much shit as Dana anyway, so.
Well, him and Dana,
Yeah.
Eskimo brothers, are they? Is that what it's called? That's what they said. But I think Sal Vistola agrees with you that he's not a big fan of the Brendan Schaub. Go back to this community tab. Pompous Psycho.
I see Daniel Fox in the chat as well, who I was with in America. I drank a couple of pints with.
Nice.
Favorite tough season bar 22, Rob? What was 22? Was that McGregor?
Let me see. Tough. I assume
also,
it was.
Pints ? No question mark needed at the end of that. Pints.
That was McGregor. Like tough one is always great. I like tough season. I think it's 5. Was that the comeback season? No, season 5 was the season with Nate Diaz, which is good. What was the comeback season? Was that 3?
There's some mad people that have been in tough that you absolutely never realise.
Yeah.
There was an article on, I think it was The Athletic the other day. It was a guy who won tough, maybe season 8 or something, and is now he never really made it in the UFC and is now just like doing a regular run-of-the-mill job and stuff. So
yeah, it happens quite a lot. And then there's just guys who like you didn't realise like they're fighting fairly like they're fighting professionally still, maybe even in the UFC, and you're like, That guy was on tough.
Yeah.
When? But yeah, season 4, tough comeback. That was a good one. Matt Serra got a title fight from it. At least it was significant, you know. There was an ending to it. Pompous Psycho, is young Sean applying for press credentials for Dana White's Fight Island? Get Sean on the island.
Yeah. I've never actually applied for press credentials for that, and I'm not sure they'd let me in anyway.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, who's this chancer?
Yeah. Also, a question about where's Brendan Dorman. I don't know. I don't know.
Hope Brendan's keeping well in these times.
I hope he is. Love to chat with Brendan soon. If he's watching this, hit us up right in the chat or hit us up on Twitter. But he's a tough man to get a hold of at times, isn't he, Sean?
He can be elusive at times. Brendan can.
Elusive, yeah. What's this? Salvastola, look out, guys. Jimmy Smith trying to muscle out with a video about UFC in Florida. Sorry, Jimmy, you got the way. Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy, come on.
Check your schedule, man.
Put some respect on
it. Yeah. Marco Toole, thoughts on UFC Dublin going ahead on August 15th?
If I was a betting man, Robert, that event isn't going ahead.
I would, yes, I would take that as well, that bet.
Zanebram just said the Jordan thing will be on Netflix, so that's great.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If it's even US, if it's on the US
VPN.
Netflix, VPN, that shit.
VPN, that. Fuck that, yeah. Like the video, subscribe, especially like the video. That would be phenomenal. But I am actually interested in that Jordan documentary as well. Yeah. As Nebrem, Cruz and Aljo have both been out with injuries. What do you think of them having to fight each other as a battle to return from injuries? They're all good. Yeah, like Cruz versus Aljo, that's a very fun fight. Yeah. I'd love to see it, and it's a tough fight for Cruz to come back to. Aljo's looked good, but I like it.
It's a tough fight for Aljo to take. If Jan gets the next title shot, and if Jan gets the next title shot and Aljo has to take a fight in between, that's a hell of a fight to take in the meantime. A risky one.
It is. It's a really risky one, but like Dominic Cruz, like he's been out for so long. Like, the thing is with Dominic Cruz, even though they booked that fight, and I'm not sure what the status of it is, like I wouldn't be confident he's going to be able to make it. Like he's had so many injuries, it's been crazy. In the chat, Shoney Carter, the GOAT. Yeah, there's another tough veteran, Shoney Carter. What a man. Gilly the Kid, what's popping? Gilly the Kid. Send a question and we'll answer. Daniel Fox favorite season.
He said, Daniel said also points ? Points full stop would be the answer to that one.
Yeah. But we can't go for points right now, Sean.
No, yeah. Pubs unfortunately haven't been deemed essential in Ireland.
Yeah, off licenses have, but pubs haven't. I was down Grafton Street there 2-3 days ago. So strange. Like it was Saturday night a few days ago, and it's so weird. It's just empty.
I seen a picture of Camden Street, which would be a street that I would frequent if I was out. And it looked so eerie. As in that street is normally hopping with people just going from pubs and just busy in general. It looked scary. I didn't even recognize it really. It took me a minute to realize that it was Camden Street. Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking crazy, man. It's so weird, and it feels like I've lived in town my whole life, but it feels so strange and dangerous because there's nobody around, and then you see some guy, and even though you're out going for a walk, getting a bit of exercise, you're like, why is that fucker out? Yeah. What's he up to? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone. It's such just a scary time. Not scary, even just eerie, and you're just weary of everyone. As in, you can see people looking at you, and you're out, and you're looking at them, and you're like, don't come too close to me. And yeah, there's no precedent to it. Like people have no clue what's going on, really.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy.
Mark O'Toole says in the chat, are certain fighters taking advantage of USADA suspending testing? Yes, is the answer to that. I'm amazed that USADA actually publicized that they're not testing or that they're reducing testing or something like this.
They should have just said nothing.
That is mental. That's like waving a big red flag to fighters and going, juice, 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 juice. To the lads, fucking mental.
TJ Dillashaw having a clean juice at home. Yeah. You know what I mean? His little juice bar. I'd say this fighter is fucking doing all sorts. Tail of the tape with Habib versus Tony possibly on hold till September. Who will Conor fight in the meantime?
Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, Justin Gaethje or Nate Diaz. I say Nate Diaz,
I think
but I'm
it'd
not
be
sure
a
if that's going
strange
to happen.
time to do the Nate trilogy.
It's never a strange time to do the Nate trilogy.
Yeah. No, that fight's always there.
That's probably why they won't do it, because it's always there. They could make that fight in 2 years. And
I think
people would
no
still
one's
buy
in
it.
any rush to make that fight.
That's true, yeah. So Sean, let's quickly fill us in on your experience now with the Marvel cinematic universe.
Let me sit up and get my phone out.
Yeah.
So I got sent a viewing order.
Yeah.
You probably can't see that viewing order
You can
correctly,
see it.
can you? Does it look correct?
Go into the middle of the screen, Sean.
So that's the viewing order I'm watching in.
Okay, kind of see it. You can kind of see it.
If you Google it, you'll get the viewing order. So I started with Captain America: The First Avenger. That was a brilliant watch. Really enjoyed that one. Bearing in mind now, I knew nothing about any of these movies. Okay.
Yeah. Good.
I didn't even realize who Black Widow was, because I actually texted one of my friends who had sent me this viewing order, and I said, after watching Thor, I said Thor has the best woman, the best girlfriend of them all so far, and he said, Black Widow's pretty good, and I didn't even realize who Black Widow was. Like, I'd seen her, but I didn't realize that she was that Scarlett Johansson was Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because she's pretty good too. But yeah, Captain America: The First Avenger was brilliant. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. What do you think of the villain?
The villain?
Red Skull. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm a big Red Skull.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Skull guy. I like it.
Fun. That was a fun movie. Captain Marvel next was probably the least favorite of all the ones I've watched so far.
Wow.
Yeah, it was grand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I like Captain. Yeah, but there's a movie there that you have watched that I think is worse. But yeah, continue.
I think I know which one you're going to say probably. Iron Man, class.
Unbelievable.
Iron Man, yeah.
Best one so far?
I don't know if it's the best. No, Captain America is probably the best one I've watched.
Well.
The Avengers was pretty good too. Iron Man's probably my favorite one, the first one.
Yeah.
Just because I think Robert Downey Jr. is really fun as Iron Man.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Yeah. Iron Man 2 was grand.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's alright, like.
It's alright. Yeah. That's all that needs.
Thor is really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Thor. Thor's good, yeah.
Skipped Hulk because it's not on Disney Plus.
Don't need to say it.
Yeah, and I was told that it's pretty inconsequential anyway, so.
Yeah, it happened before they had all this set out, I think. I mean, it's,
Avengers was class. Really liked that one. I love the dynamic between them the whole way through, where they all just kind of hate each other and they're like, who are you? And you're shite.
Yeah.
And just a man in a suit and stuff. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 was grand. It's kind of just a filler movie, wasn't it?
Iron Man 3, yeah. What do you think of the twist?
At the end, where, can I say it?
Yes.
The twist of Pepper survives, like.
No, the twist of who the Mandarin is. He's not actually.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just thinking of Pepper there. It was bullshit that she survives. I like her.
Yeah.
But, like, she fell into a pit of fire. Like, come on. That was bullshit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. See, I liked the Mandarin was a fucking cool villain, and the twist was kind of funny, but like that was a cool villain until they done that.
Yeah, it was a cool villain.
Yeah.
What was next? Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, that I watched last night. I liked it. I like Loki as a villain. I think he's
Loki's great. Yeah.
They killed him. I'm going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen them, if you haven't seen them, turn away now, like right now. So I was kind of live texting my friend as I was watching it, and I texted him when they killed Loki, and I was like, why hasn't Loki pulled that illusion bullshit to survive? Because I had grown to like him as much as he was an arsehole. Do you know what I mean?
He's a great character.
He's a great character. He's a likable prick.
Likeable prick.
And I texted him, I said, why hasn't he pulled this illusion bullshit to survive, yet Pepper can fall into a pit of fire and survive? Like, that's ridiculous. And
he is a god too.
He said nothing. I'd say he didn't actually reply to me until I texted him after the movie.
Yeah.
And then he survived at the end, and I was like, that's a good twist. I liked it.
Get in there.
Yeah, I liked it.
So that's where you are. So what's up next?
Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one up tonight. Yeah,
baby. Is it good? Baby, that's phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal movie. That's one of the better ones.
Okay.
In my opinion.
What I have seen Spider-Man: Homecoming as well. It's further on down, but I've seen.
Yeah, awesome movie. Yeah.
What was the one of them that you didn't like that I've watched so far?
Not that I didn't like,
or the
but
least favorite. Can I guess?
It's definitely released. Yeah.
Iron Man 2.
No.
I'm not including Hulk, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know.
Dark World.
Oh, Dark World. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Wasn't
I'm
mad
pretty
on it.
easy with my movies as well, like so.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Now I do like Thor, but Thor 3, when you get to that, that's the best one of the lot.
Thor, what's that one? Is it Ragnarok or something?
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah.
That is the best one of the lot.
The end. So it was funny because the first one I started watching, Captain America, I turned it off at the credits. Like I clicked out of it. And then I was 2 movies in. I'd watched 2 full movies. I'd watched 2 movies, but I just clicked off after the credits. And my friend was like to me, there's a scene at the end of the credits. And he's like, why isn't it just at the end of the movie? I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, but those Marvel movies, you have to watch right to the end, or you will miss something, and something usually quite important.
Yeah, as in at the end of Thor: Dark World, it was the first mention of the stones. What do you call them? The fucking, what do you call them?
The Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones. Them. Yeah. They give them to the collector to look after, and he's like, let them down, 5 to go or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sweet. So you're enjoying them?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying them so far. They've been really good. So I'm also binge watching the US Office, which is hilarious for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, and the good thing is that from my recollection, you've gone through the ones that are all considered, like, not all of them are considered bad, but the ones that are considered the worst of the lot. I think you've watched most of them already. So, you have a good way to go. Get a few more questions in before we end this chat. We go for a couple more minutes because I want to talk about something. I've just seen this report come up from Bloody Elbow. An expert and brother of UFC owner says return of crowds in sports events won't happen until late 2021.
I seen this.
Yeah, not hugely surprising. But it will be weird then once we, like, if assuming that that's actually the case, and it comes to late 2021 before we see crowds, it's gonna be weird getting used to. Well, probably not really, but like for a while it'll be weird, like watching events, especially events like MMA without any crowd, and then suddenly that coming back. It'd be kind of a strange thing.
It's very hard. It would be hard to feel comfortable at a sporting event when there's no vaccine, personally.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I think like the time frame for a vaccine is anywhere, like as rushed as it is at the minute, trying to find a vaccine for it that works. They're looking at like 12 to 18 months, possibly longer. So like that would bring you to some point in 2021. So that's not overly surprising. But like I seen a tweet today. Like I'm a big football, soccer in America fan. I go to a lot of matches. Like the big thing about it is going to stuff and watching sport is it's not even necessarily the sport. It's kind of just taking the mind off any other bullshit for whatever length of time that it's on for. So for me, that would be a big thing that I just kind of miss as well. So I'd imagine a lot of people are the same. So
yeah. I also seen this as well. Saki Gabara, who was I don't know if he's called the president or whatever he's called of Ryzen, obviously former president of Pride. He wants to cross promote with the UFC 1 and Bellator to organise the martial arts Olympics in Japan this summer or autumn as a replacement for the Olympic Games. Awesome idea. Never gonna happen. Like there's absolutely no chance.
That's an easy one for him to shoot out there to get a bit of publicity, isn't it? Because you just know it's never gonna happen.
Exactly. Like it's after getting to the top of Reddit MMA or MMA.
So there you go.
Yeah, but it's just never gonna happen. Dana White just will not cross promote with anybody.
Not a chance. They don't need to.
Exactly. Like why would they? It'd be so fun.
Says in the chat there, The Office is the GOAT. Great show. So yeah,
it is a great show. Yeah. Do you know what show I don't watch, but I want to watch? I seen it recently. Got put up on on Netflix. Community. That show, Community. Apparently, it's very good. I've never actually watched it.
My best friend has seen it and absolutely loves it. So
yeah.
I reckon it'd be something you like.
Yeah. Did you watch Tiger King?
No. Do you know what? I'm like really bad for watching stuff, especially stuff that people hype up a lot, because I don't necessarily have the same taste as other people, and so if I watch stuff that people have hyped up, I'm just scared that I won't like it. Yeah,
because you didn't like Uncut Gems. You have zero taste.
That was awful, that movie. I don't care what anyone says. That movie was horrific.
It was fucking brilliant. Anyone like Uncut Gems, let me know in the chat. One or two more things. I just missed it, but I had it there 2 seconds ago. Oh, Jesus, Sean.
Any book recommendations or stuff like that, let us know in the chat as well.
Yeah.
I'll give you AP McCoy's book as well. That's my recommendation for the day.
AP McCoy. Yeah, you said that. I actually had something that I wanted to chat about, and I have fucking lost it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Zenebra made a fair point down in the chat as well. The Olympics is often mostly for amateurs, meaning not for professionals. At least back in the day, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who competes in the Olympics should be amateur, so you have to do it. You have to do it for MMA. So
yeah,
you would have to do it with headgear and shin guards and stuff like that if MMA was to be taken into the Olympics.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all the questions. I think we got through all the community ones. There's no more questions there as far as I can see. Anything else, Sean, from you? What are you going to watch tonight? And how's the rest of your week looking?
Tonight I'm going to watch, what time is it now? It's 20 to 8 over here in Ireland. I'm going to make some food because I've been eating like a fat pig the last couple of weeks. So going to make some food, watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Then going to finish off the next season of The Office in bed. And then the rest of the week. So I've been off for a while now. I've going back to work on Thursday. So that's what the rest of my week is looking like.
Nice.
What about yourself?
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of films that I haven't seen in a long time lately. You know, like I've rewatched a lot of things. Like I watched The Breakfast Club again. I watched Godfather Part 1 again. I watched Back to the Future 1 and 2 again. So I need to watch number 3, Back to the Future. I need to watch number 2 of Godfather. And maybe number 3 because I'm not a huge fan.
The Godfather book is really good if you haven't read it. Or if
I haven't actually.
Yeah, really good.
No, I haven't. I must give it a go. But that's it. Thanks to everyone for joining and giving us all the questions. Some excellent ones there. Give this a like before you leave. It'll help us out a lot. And watch the community tab, or keep an eye on the community tab for the announcement when this next one is going to be. I'm not sure exactly when. But turn notifications on as well and subscribe. Most likely next week. Maybe something this week. I don't know. We'll see. I might get bored. But anyways, thanks again. Like it. See you later, Sean.
See you later, guys.